welcome to Straight to It. I am here in the studio by myself yet again. Usually here with two of my brothers, but they are off on assignment. What those assignments are, I have no idea. But without all any of that, this is episode 13, and it is another interview. This interview is going to be fun, and I'm glad this young lady took the time out to do it and take the opportunity to share her story with me and you alike. So, without further ado, before we get started, actually, please like, share, subscribe, comment. What you might hear might resonate with you. You might not be the same person, but it might be something up your alley. But anyway, with all that being said, I'm here. I'm going to be talking with a former colleague, a good friend.
Right.
We've known each other for quite some time. She is fun. She is the epitome of fun. But what I can stress enough about her is she's a good friend. She's someone you can bounce off ideas off. She is a mother. She is a wife. She is what encompasses a great partner. So without further ado, everyone, let's welcome Krystal to the studio. All right.
Hey, what's going on? Happy to be here.
Good. I know this is I know I asked you maybe a couple of weeks back, or even I probably asked you before I started with the idea of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that I would ask you obviously for interview and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm just glad you were able to stick with it and meet it. That's what friends do, and that's why you're in my corner.
Yes, sir.
So Krystal, the
Yes,
floor
sir.
is yours. Tell us, peel the curtain back, pull the shade up, let us know who Krystal Lynch is, how it started, where it began, and where it's trending. It's on you.
Okay, Krystal Lynch is a mom, a wife, wrestling lover, fashion. Not Easter, but I love fashion.
Mhm.
We go, like you said, we go way back.
Mhm.
Not too far back, but way back.
Yep.
And I just love vibing with good people and having a good time. Like I said, I do a podcast. I do a all women's podcast with my friend Stephanie Hypes.
Mhm.
And then I do a podcast with my guys called and we just talk about having fun and just Black people loving wrestling and why we love it. And it's a thing where it's kind of like, "Oh, you like wrestling? Why is that?" But it's not real.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you get that like WWE,
Mhm.
like F at the time, or that, and you always get the which is so funny. And I start laughing, and of course they don't expect, one, that I'm a girl, two, I'm Black, and that I like wrestling. I could like any other sport, and it is considered a sport. I mean, I like football. I watch everything, but my number one guilty pleasure is wrestling. And you can find Krystal 9 out of 10 times watching some kind of wrestling, even if it's on in the background, or it just makes me feel better. Or just, I don't know what it is about guys and women beating each other up that makes me like it.
You kind of live vicariously through that. You get to blow off some steam.
Pretty much. It's like any other show that you like that you love. Any kind of sitcom that gives you that makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So that's me in a little nutshell.
Awesome. So when did that love start? I mean, it had to start and grow from somewhere.
Right. I want to say when I was a little girl, I think everyone can say that they were either with their grandma, because grandmas, it was like soap operas. Grandmas loved wrestling for whatever reason. So my grandma liked wrestling and my uncles loved wrestling. And me being there with them, I kind of watched it with them, and I kind of enjoyed the love of it. And of course, back then in the 80s, the big thing was Hulk Hogan and Macho Man.
Yeah.
For me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mega powers were a big thing back in the 80s. I don't know if you guys know about that, but that was my thing, guys. I don't know if you see my name is Miss Chrissy Love. I like my name is like, that's what I use in a podcast. The women that I love was Miss Elizabeth and Sensational.
Oh yeah.
They were white, but I love them. I thought Macho Man was black when I was a little girl because he was very tan. But that's another thing. People they'll probably crucify me, but it's okay. But I had loved that from when I was a little girl, and I was like, wow, these people are great. And I just stemmed from when I became, a young girl. Even in high school, I would like watch it, and like girls were like, why are you watching wrestling? You watching because you want to look at the dudes? No, I just like it. I grew up with all boys. I'm the only girl, so I kind of been thrown into the shuffle of all that. So they do moves on me. I watch sports. It's just how so happened. That's where it stems from. And then as an adult, it just stuck with me.
Awesome. So now, obviously, I know you also are a family woman. You husband married, and I know you have a kid. I don't know, you have 2 or 1, right?
I have 2 boys,
2 boys.
13 and 11.
Awesome. So how does that dynamic, especially with your love of wrestling, do they sit there and watch it with you?
When they were younger, they would see it. They would ask questions, and they would be curious. Then as they got older, my youngest son, who would ask me more questions about it, and then his teacher would show it at school and made it a part of their curriculum. So my youngest one is more into it and loving it, and we go to shows together. My older one, he'll just like ask questions like, okay, is he a good guy or a bad guy? Like what we say, it's like, it's not bad guys, they're called heels.
Right.
So I kind of like give them like more of the, like the teacher gives them more of the like education side. So I was like, where were you when we were young?
Right.
But the dynamics of it in the household, like I'll have it on in the background, and like sometimes they'll join me and watch, and then sometimes, they'll just be like, okay, your mom's watching wrestling, don't bother her, things like that. They used to would record with me.
Okay.
And then after a while they got out of it. I was like, I'm not going to pressure you like to do this. Like if you want to do it, you do it. Like I do it because I love it. Don't do it because I'm not going to ever pressure you to like sit down and do this with me. No. But yes, now my youngest one will definitely watch, and like he's like, oh God, why do you like the Hills? Gotta love a good bad guy. Gotta love the Hills. Like,
I guess because we're always taught, even like the cartoons we grow up and watch, everybody's a good guy. I know for me, it was like He-Man and Spider-Man, all the DC comics. But then there's always Skeletor. There's always this.
They look badass. Like they were like you've always seen like a bad guy. You're like we're taught to hate them, but they're like, nah, he's actually really cool. Like what he's thinking is like he's the anti-hero.
Right.
We're taught not to like the anti-hero, and the anti-heroes are they come from a good place.
Yeah.
They just don't know that they're doing bad things.
They're misunderstood.
There we go. That's a good word, friend.
But okay. So like we said, we go way back. I think the dynamic of like this, even me asking you to do a podcast. I know like when we first met, I don't even think I think you looked at me like, does this dude even talk? Does he even say anything?
He does. You didn't, and we were not on the same shift.
Yeah, we're not on the same shift. We would see each
like
other a lot.
Passing, yes.
Right, correct. We would see each other in passing. I remember like a couple of times when we had like staff meetings and things like that, and I think I would just be sitting there, and I'd just be totally out. I just wouldn't be engaged. I'd just be looking at the clock, just like anybody else. But I think it also attributed to the kind of work we were doing. And also like the leadership at the time.
The leadership of, yes, absolutely.
And that we can discuss. We can discuss that all over the place. But it's whatever. But I think the people in itself, like the people who did the everyday work, such as you, myself, and a couple others, it was fine.
Yes, absolutely.
I think the dynamics of it, and whether it's the work style, the operations that we ran, it just sucked. Just like what you were about to say, it sucked. And it didn't get any better.
No.
It became increasingly frustrating, and it got to the point where it started burning people out. A lot of people kind of retired off. A lot of people left. And
I was one of them.
Yes, I remember when you left. And it was just increasingly hard. I mean, obviously everyone has their respective bills and responsibilities, but like, I don't think anybody would have tried to tough that out. It was just too much at that point.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a little segue of ours. Yeah. So talk to me. You are married. How do you and hubby make it work?
That's a good question, because we also kids can make things get lost in the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, for us, and our relationship does not work for everyone else, maybe, per se.
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people, when you are getting married or thinking of getting married, you have to do what works best for you guys. You can't
Right.
compare what you guys have to other people, because then that's a danger that's something for disaster to happen.
Right.
So for us, we try to like have fun. Like I try to say that I have my best friend. Like if I could be a clown around you, then we're having fun. Like if I can make you laugh and do something stupid, it's something good. Like you could be real serious, and man, I'll do something stupid, or you do something stupid, and it'll make us crack a smile. Like, oh, so try to incorporate like having date night. At least like for us, we do it like once a month.
Right.
Sometimes we forget because time, tired, work, kids, schedules, all of that. Also, we miss March. Okay, we're gonna go make sure we get it done in April. We're not like looking at we're not saying, okay, you know what, this is what's happening. And for us, like, we just like to relax and watch random TV shows and just enjoy being with each other. Like, even like sometimes we'll like play like 3 games of Uno at night with our kids before everyone goes to bed, just to make the dynamic and everything, just to still have fun, just like have an outlet. So that's one of our ways of how we make it work. Our next anniversary will be 14 years.
Oh, awesome.
I can say that, thank you. I can say that I have grown. I am not the same person that I was 14 years ago, and neither is he, because we were much younger, and what I know now is much better than what I know then, because I didn't know anything. So again, you have to learn the person, because I have to like cook and clean almost all the time. I didn't know I had to like, I got to take care of this person. Like, I got to make my bed every day. Like, this person is messy. They don't leave the toilet seat down. I was like, like, no one prepares you for these things. So, it's like, so that's how we make it work. Is like, we're dynamic is very like, I'm more of the outgoing person. He's more of like introvert. Like, I make him come outside. Like, I like to hang out and go out and have fun. And then once he said, oh yeah, I had a good time. Like, once I pull him to go, like, sometimes he's like, oh, Chris, like, why? All right. But once he's there, he knows that I mean well in this. So yes.
Yeah, I think that even like in dating, it's, I think you hit it right on the head. Learning, and I don't think a lot of people are built for it or want to put the work into it. I think
right, and it takes lots of work.
Yeah, I think, and also there are segments of it where, I guess where, there's going to be rough spots, rough patches, and,
where I hate your guts and you hate my guts.
That's it.
Or like, you didn't like what I said to you, and I didn't mean it in that context, but now I have to go and say, you know what, my bad. I'll have to listen to what you said. I didn't know what I was doing made you feel that way.
Right.
So, communication, again, something that you learn as you go.
Right. I also, to piggyback off that, it's like, you hit it right on the head, communication. But I think there's an element of it where comprehension plays, because I think a lot of people say they're communicating, but how the message is being received and how that person, exactly, whether you said it, the tone, just like facial expression, body language, everything is incorporated. And I think that plays a huge part. And it's always interesting, because now you hear friends, whether they're married or dating, girlfriend or whatever, they make it seem like when they go through rough stretches, it is the hardest thing that they have to deal with. And I'm not married, but I just I have married friends. Obviously, I know you and stuff like that. We talk candidly, but I don't know, this society now, the way it's like designed, everyone has an opinion about what somebody else is doing.
Right. Yes. Instead of like paying attention to their own selves.
Correct. Like
social media is like a good but bad thing that has happened to us in this world, I
I
must
agree.
say.
I agree.
Yeah, because now everyone has something to say. It's an opinion, or you now have to watch what you say. It's just it's a recipe that has been a disaster,
Yeah.
and in a good and bad way. So
Yeah. It's frustrating at times, to be quite
hmm
honest,
yeah,
because it feels like you have to walk around in eggshells.
hmm
Certain statements you might say, on both sides of the fence, whether you're talking from, from a female's aspect or to a female, or from a
hmm
male's aspect to a male. It's just hard because everyone feels you should be doing A, B, and C, but
hmm
who's to say A, B, and C works for everyone, but I don't know. It's just one of those things where I don't think it's going to get resolved overnight, obviously.
No,
um,
unfortunately, everyone is too sensitive nowadays,
yeah.
and it's just something that will have to, I guess, progressively evolve
Yeah.
and open up
Yeah.
people's minds and understanding of how it could be,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I know you have your two sons. So what impact do they bring to your life, or what? Yeah.
Um, I love them, but they get on my nerves. I love them to death. I wouldn't change anything about being a parent. But kids get on your nerves, and I think is a thing that it never, well, more so for moms, and it's never a time off. Like, it doesn't like get turned, like I don't get to turn it off, or I
Right.
don't get to take that hat off,
Hmm.
because soon I might be Krystal at work, but then when I get home, I'm mom,
Hmm.
and mom sign this, mom do this, but your dad is over there, have him sign it. Like, but mom is the one. I think moms are always the ones that make it happen.
Okay.
I'm guessing. At least, like, moms are the ones that are always like the go-to first, maybe,
Hmm.
per se. um But I love my sons. We have a great time. We be silly together. But
Hmm.
then still they get on my nerves like any other kid would. Like, all right, why you're being annoying? Like, go away. Like, why are you not listening? You don't listen. Then I tell you to pick up the, like, I told you to clean your room 3 times.
Right.
The clothes are still on the floor. And then I gotta get crazy. Why I gotta be like yelling at you? Like, come
Right.
on.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge. Like, I give you so much kudos. Like, I have my niece. Obviously, I post my niece every now and then.
hmm
People see the picture of my niece, and I could just see her as she grows. She's 9 now, which
hmm
is big because
Right.
I remember when I started showing pictures of her, she was just a baby, and
Mm,
now she's 9. And it's that progression that you talked about,
yeah.
them understanding and
hmm
like kind of looking at their parents and just trying to understand and decipher, like, right from wrong, and next steps of life.
And
uh,
seeing them grow, and like see how it, like, seeing things through their eyes.
Big time. um so when it comes to your actual parents, what is it that you extract from your parents and you try to incorporate into your marriage life?
Okay, so I can, to get to the nitty gritty, my parents were never together.
Okay.
I am a product of a one and only time that my parents have slept together.
Okay.
My parents, my mother was on a break, so I was considered like a break baby back
Okay.
then.
Okay.
So my mother was with someone, and then it
Hmm.
was on a break, and then my mother met my father, and a few months later, she got back with her boyfriend.
Hmm.
She was pregnant. She thought it was his, and then come out it was me. And
Hmm.
back then in the 80s, it was like, oh, you thought you was all that with this guy, but you had somebody else's baby. So it's
Hmm.
very funny when I hear my parents tell the story.
Right.
Um, but what I've learned from both, okay, I can learn from my father that it's never too late to make everything right.
Right.
Um,
Good lesson. Good lesson.
he was in jail most of my younger childhood.
Mhm.
Um, in and out or whatever, and like we didn't really have a relationship until I was like in my 20s, where he was consistently out and being like my late 20s, to be honest.
Mhm.
um but now me and him are like this, we're tight, it's good.
Awesome.
So he's like a product of it's never too late to make everything right,
Mhm.
get my life right, myself right, get a job, be on a straight and narrow, and that. My mom taught me how to always consistently make it work. Whatever you have, you make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't have that much money, you're going to make it, you're going to figure it out, and you're going to make it work for you and your family.
Right.
So that's what I've learned from them separately. My parents were never married.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew from when I was young, I wanted to be with someone and not have multiple people, whatever. Not that saying that is good or bad, like that. I just knew that I didn't want that type of thing. I know I wanted to be with someone that I can have my children with. I wanted to get a house. I wanted to build a foundation.
All right.
So that's what I've gotten. That's what I've learned from them. Love them dearly. They get on my nerves as well, like any parent.
Yeah.
So I understand that I probably get on my kids' nerves. So it's just, you know, a whole thing. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what I've learned from my parents.
Awesome. So how does that transition current day, and you being someone who's on the verge of your 14th wedding anniversary, and you guys are, seemingly have a great foundation and have grown and learned from each other through thick and thin. Like, you literally got it out of the mud. So what is that?
Wasn't easy. Again, like I said, when we first did this, again, we had to learn each other. Like, we were, of course, dated, but we never lived together.
Okay.
So when we got married, we lived together.
Okay.
And like, he was spending the night at my house, I was spending the night at his house, but we were never like had our own place together until we got married. So I had to figure out, like, okay, why you keep leaving the toilet seat up? Don't you see as a female in this house? Like, I'm used to, like, my brothers leaving the toilet seat down, like, my mother always told them to do that because there's women in the house.
Right.
So, I had to keep reminding him to do that. So the dynamics of that, like, I knew, like, okay, I wanted to be with someone again. I just wanted to be with, like, a person and build a family. So I knew, like, since my parents didn't have that, I didn't have that from my parents. I just knew that I wanted to kind of, like, build that and have something different. So with me and him, like, we've grown. I think I love him more now than I loved him then.
Right.
And again, we just had to, like, learn each other. We had rough patches. Like, there's time where we were just like, oh, okay. But, like, we wouldn't, like, do anything where, like, you stuck with me, I'm stuck with you. Like,
right. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's
okay, I'm just gonna, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it for us, we just knew that we weren't going to leave. We just was like, we'll just kill steam. Okay, you go in that room, I go in this room. We'll come back or whatever. And, like, it is what it is. When you're ready to talk to me, I'll talk to you. But we had to, again, learn that and grow and figure it out as we knew each other, because we were young too as well.
Mm-hmm.
We were in our, like, late 20s.
Right.
So we kind of had to, like, we grew up even more together as we were married. Yeah. And like I said, my parents were only together one time when they had me. My dad still to this day tries to give up my mother. My mother's like, no, I don't want you. And they're almost 60. I'll be telling my dad, I'm like, why do you, like, you don't know what no means? She keep telling you no, like, like, get the hint. He was like, you never know. Like, he's just a sucker for love, I think. But I get my personality from him. Like, we just like to have a good time. And I try to keep that dynamics together with my husband and just try to, like, keep it fun. Mm-hmm. And because people can get bored. And it's just life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's not taught to us, like, how to, like, you see a lot of people that are just married and, like, still the course, but if they weren't always happy all year round, people, things happen, rough patches happen. You get on my nerves, I get on your nerves. Like, that's just what it is. So yeah.
No,
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, that's real rap right there. Because I think a lot of people aren't, like I said before, aren't built for that. They don't really understand the true dynamics of relationships, whether it's, being girlfriend and boyfriend, mm-hmm. or, husband and wife. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. You sometimes don't want to do the work, right? Mm-hmm. And but you invested so much. At least you would hope and think, mm-hmm. that someone, mm-hmm. invested a lot, and they would put forth their best effort. But it's hard, and I give you a lot of credit. I give you a lot of credit. It's, I'm not, I don't poo-poo about dating, mm-hmm. and stuff, mm-hmm. like that, but I know it's not easy. I'm about
to say, I think the dating world is harder now.
Yes.
than it was maybe 10 years ago.
Yep. Yep.
I'd say, my God, to date now would be like, I don't know. It's everything is just, it's harder, and it's not as easy, especially like you have social media around.
Hmm.
And again, people's expectations are set very high.
Yes. Yes.
You could be comparing others to someone else, and again, you can't. That's a recipe for disaster.
100%.
Um, so yeah, I kudos to you guys that are in the dating world. But again, like, married people have the same kind of like issues, setbacks, and things like that. So again, you have to be in the race to run it. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you don't have like date nights, at least if you plan on going out, you guys have a good time.
Hmm.
It could be in a group with people. Like, it doesn't have to be to dinner or movies. It could be just something that's like random.
Right.
And you can make anything into like, okay, let's go out real quick, maybe 2-3 hours. You can't
Yeah.
not be on our phones, have nobody bother you. Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a couple words, and I want you to tell me how they hit you, how they impact you, and what it exactly means to you. So the first word I'm gonna throw at to you is trust.
Ooh. And I have to give you a word back, or just I'll tell you what that means. What it means.
What it means. You tell me what it means to you in your life, whether it's in a relationship or how you conduct yourself, however you see fit.
Trust takes time to build.
Okay.
Especially if it was broken.
Okay.
You can be a very forgiving person, but at the same time, it takes work to build back the trust.
Right.
I can say I can forgive you, and I have to forgive you, or whatever, because that's the right thing, that we're told that's the right thing to do. But you know that thing that broke the trust is in the back of your mind, and it takes time for you to forget about
Right.
the trust that was broken.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes time to build it back, or don't break it.
No, facts. Compromise.
Half and half. I feel like compromising. My husband doesn't always like to come to a wrestling with me, but he compromises and comes with me to make me happy and puts a smile on my face. I watch 10 MMA games with him because that's his guilty pleasure. He
Okay.
likes that. Or compromise mean work with that person.
Right.
Work with them. It's something that will put a smile on that other person's face. So if that makes you happy, then I'm happy.
Good. Love.
Love. Okay. Love can be many things. But love, love can be, that's rough. Because it can't be for everyone. Because what I love is like, I can just look at you and just like, Dag, I love him.
Right.
I can just I don't even have to like, it doesn't have to be like affectionate. Like, love doesn't have to be like touching, or,
Right.
it could just be like, I look at you, or I just even miss you. Like, I could picture your face and I love that man, or
Right.
women, whichever one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, love is a feeling that you
Mm-hmm.
can't describe, and you can't help who you love,
Awesome.
even if they're like evil.
Yeah. It's that last love it's challenging.
It's a
For
challenge.
me,
It's a challenge. I like that
it's
one.
definitely a
I
challenge.
like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, no matter how you like it, slice it, or whatever the case may be, it's challenging.
It's challenge. It's
Um,
work.
yeah, we always go back to work. And the last one I have for you, commitment.
Um, Work.
Yeah,
Work. It goes hand in hand. I feel like it's compromise. All of the above is work. It
yeah,
takes work. It takes work to do it. Like, it's work.
yeah. No, well said. Um, trust me, it's some of these things. Some of these, like I ask myself,
Hmm.
and it's challenging because for women, I don't know if sometimes you go through this with your husband.
Hmm.
I know with me and my you know girlfriend, we
Hmm.
we struggle sometimes because she doesn't feel that she gets the reassurance from me
Mm.
at times.
Hmm.
Because of
Love languages.
well, yeah, but it's almost harder for guys because I think we're
Yes.
all wired
Hmm.
similarly
Hmm.
in terms of I know for you guys it is about the love languages. For us, it's more so about respect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think and I'm sure you've gotten into bouts with your husband where he feels like he doesn't get respect.
Hmm.
Um, and I've gotten to that point,
Hmm.
and and it's gotten into shouting matches and things like that.
Hmm.
But it's whatever.
For me,
Hmm.
um, sometimes I will, even like in a random like text, I'll say, I love you and I appreciate you.
Okay.
Little, just something that little
All right.
will make that person's day. I appreciate the hard work you're doing. I might not say it every day, but I hope that you know that's how I feel.
Right.
And again, everyday life, you get lost in the sauce. Like things make your mind is just running 24/7, and you say, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, that. And sometimes you forget that you have to acknowledge the person you're with. And it's not something that needs to be done every day, but it needs to be like women, we're more affectionate. Guys are not like, like that. But they love to be, they can be affectionate, but they're
Right.
not, they don't show it as often.
Right.
I don't know why we don't do, why we were brought up that way. I say it's like kind of like the generational unwanted curse, maybe.
Right.
Um, but I feel like it's the things that we can say, it's okay for you to, say, or give me a random, like, I just wanted a hug from you. I just wanted to feel like, just feel your arms around me. Sometimes I'll just like, he'll be washing dishes and I'll come behind him and like just hug him, and he'll start laughing. He's like, what are you doing? Why are you being a clown? I'm like, I'm just being a
No.
clown. But yeah, just to like keep things like, just to say I appreciate you, or like, you guys need to hear those things. Like you said, it's out of respect. And sometimes you guys don't even need to say I love you, but you just say thank you or I appreciate you.
Yep. 100%. You well said. Um, it's that dynamic, and yeah, you packaged it great as far as it being maybe an unwanted curse as far as generations, because guys, especially our generation,
Hmm.
it's you got to be tough, right?
Yeah.
You can't show emotion, especially emotions to a female, because of
Hmm.
that it's a
Hmm.
sign of weakness and stuff like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
But it's hard
Yeah.
because you look at both sides of the coin. um yes, you will, some will respect it, that
Hmm.
you're able to show that emotion, and frankly there's others that will find it frankly annoying
Yeah.
because they think you're weak.
Yes.
And you get kind of patched in and pocketed
Hmm. Hmm.
into different categories when that happens, and it's hard, but
Double-edged sword, friend.
right.
Because
Exactly.
then like, if you do this for a lady, I'm like, oh, why he like, is he a simp? Like, is he weak? Like, why
Right.
is he like that? But then he's just like, but you want a man to show you the affection. So which one is it? Like,
Mhm.
like, help me help you. Like, give me a break. Like,
Right.
you
Like
know?
like the biggest urban legend, it's not really an urban legend, is that women aren't really satisfied. Like you guys have zero idea what you really like or what
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
want.
Hmm.
And to a degree it is true, but also I think it comes with time, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like anything else. But I think that's where that tug of war comes in, and where people have to learn each other,
Hmm.
like you touched on, and
Hmm.
the time it takes
Yeah.
itself, it takes a life of its own. Okay, so what is one regret out of your whole life that you have that still irks you to this day?
Uh, um, not being able to go away to college.
Okay.
I went to City Tech.
Okay.
I stayed in the city. Um, I wish my mom pushed me to go away. Well, she didn't do. She made me stay here with her. She didn't want me to go because I was a girl.
Okay.
She made me stay here with her. Um, and I wish I got to experience college out of New York.
Okay.
Um, just to see life outside of what Brooklyn had.
Mm-hmm.
To understand like being, by myself.
Right.
I always want to experience like seeing like the fraternities and sororities. It didn't have to be an HBCU. I just wanted to go outside of New York to go to college.
Right.
But I wound up going to City Tech here.
Okay.
So that's one regret. I wish I would have just put my foot down and try to like harder to get like either scholarships or whatever and go to college outside of New York City.
Good. And what did you end up ultimately graduating with?
I ended up graduating with a bachelor's in law and paralegal studies.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, when we met in the healthcare field, and
Yes.
obviously we both left for other endeavors, and I think to greater endeavors, I should say. But at this point in time, what field are you in?
I am in the educational field, still in law.
Okay.
I work with the legal team at Success Academy Network Office. So we find more spaces for schools.
Mm-hmm.
We deal with like if a teacher or a parent wants to sue, things like that. And then also like contracts,
Mm-hmm.
verbiage on how you like relay messages to parents and how they do training and relay things to the teachers now, because everything has to be like cut dry, all
Mm-hmm.
I's dotted, T's crosses, all periods. Like everything has to be like look with a magnifying glass now. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm at. I left healthcare a while ago, and I wound
Right.
up coming over to the education side.
Now that you're on the education side, what is it? What are some things that you now have like a higher level of respect for, as now
Ooh.
that you're in it and you're not on the outside looking in, like you're actually in the trenches. So what is it that has kind of sculpted your mind?
Um, One, teachers, because they don't leave at 3 o'clock or 4:30 whenever the kids get out of school.
Okay.
So they get there like we would start our day when I used to be inside the school building. I used to start my day at like 7:30 and
Mm-hmm.
not leaving there till almost like 6 o'clock.
Mm.
Because then, you had after school, and then people still have to like prep for teaching for the next day or do lesson plans for the following week, grade papers, call parents about kids not doing homework, and, try to get on the same page to like see why this kid is not uh, um, understanding the work, or why they're not doing their homework, or why they're not telling you that they're telling you there's no homework when there really is.
Mm-hmm.
Why the parents not checking the homework. So it's really hard. Like it takes a village
Right.
for all of that to coincide. And I don't recall my mom, I guess maybe because I didn't do bad in school. So I guess my teachers never had to really call my mother. My mother barely signed homeworks, or
Mm-hmm.
actually we had tests, maybe because she was too busy working.
Right.
But she was like, just go to school. She paid for us to go to, I went to Catholic school from like the 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I'm paying for this. You better do good. That's all that matters. Like don't make me waste my money.
Yeah.
So
I know that feeling.
right. So have an appreciation, and then also like the other side of it is like who runs the schools. Like it's not just the principal. Like people got to make sure that the lights are on. People got to make sure like this door gets fixed before a kid's hand gets broken. So
Right.
we have to call the custodians. Like it's so much things. Like we have to order food. We have to order supplies. So much things on the outside besides teachers. The operations team run the school in the school office,
Mm-hmm.
they making sure kids, you know, medical forms are in you know, up to date. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure this person had, like, we have like a lot of kids that have medication now. Like when we were young, that wasn't really I don't recall it being a thing, to be honest. Like a lot of like kids, like, make sure that they have their asthma pumps and, like, you know, things, you know, they're getting sick in school and they got to go to the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, or kids getting injured on the playground.
Right.
So
Um,
it's I put my hat off to them.
yeah, it definitely a bigger appreciation for
Hmm.
what they do, and like just the whole overall mix. Because, you know, I've had friends that are in the educational system, and frankly, they'll tell you flat, it's just not that great.
No,
You
and they
know,
don't, you know,
from
underpaid, all of them,
yeah,
every last one of them. And kids
exactly.
can be very nasty.
Hmm.
Kids are evil. Kids can be very, like, if you've seen like videos of, like, you know, kids fighting the teachers, like, I was like, I don't remember us doing that back in the day. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I remember us being bad and not listening, but
right.
fighting a teacher was like,
Yeah,
was not a thing back.
they're just not, they're just fearless. And I
Yes,
can't say that because I think my parents would have just whooped my ass if I would have
yes,
did anything remotely
yes,
like that.
yes,
But
yes.
these kids, everything is about video, everything is
Mhm,
about social
mhm,
media,
mhm, mhm.
and just the notoriety of it. And it's like, okay, I'd rather get clicks and likes
Yes,
than,
and
you
that's
know,
exactly what it is.
and it's just hard, and it's
Mhm,
terrible, to be
mhm,
quite
mhm.
honest.
It really is. It's really sad to see,
Yeah,
because this
big
person
time.
that's taking out their time, they're leaving their family, and you go and do this to them,
Right.
and they're like not appreciated at all. You know.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, in your career overall, both healthcare and now in your current role, what are some highlights and what are some lowlights?
Highlighter are the people that I meet.
Okay.
Um, and again, like me and you still are cool. Like I
Hmm.
build a relationship with a lot of people
Hmm.
from the healthcare, from education. I meet a lot of great, genuine people, and
Right.
I try to, when I find people, I was like, okay, you're stuck with me, like, you know, we're friends to the end, like Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, like Chucky. um, but uh, those are my highlights, like the people I meet, having a great time, and just like, again, we're at work more than with our family, so why can't we like laugh and joke and have a good time while we're here for these hours, until, like, because no one wants to be angry at, like you said, I would see you and you would just like not have a face, you know, be happy, and I'm like, I don't want it to be like this, like, and I understood why you were like that, and again, it was based on, like, you know, long story, like our leadership, and like I feel like if we had better leadership and better things, I think we would have been, I would have personally stayed there longer, um because I didn't hate what I was doing. I just didn't feel like what we were doing was one appreciated. No one was listening to us. Like our meetings were pointless. Um, yeah, I feel like we were just being just okay. Just I was just working for a check.
No, you're right. It's, you know, even, you know, to expand on that, it's like the work was never hard.
Mm-mm.
The people were enjoyable and
Mhm.
respectable.
Mhm.
It was just the direction of where the regime was taking us,
Mhm.
and, you know, frankly, for me, I just didn't like it, and I'm
Mhm.
just one of those people. I'm not going to be too bothered by it. Like, I just wanted to get in and get out.
Right.
Everybody knew that was me. Like, granted, I when I came in, I was respectful. Like,
Mhm. Mhm. Of course.
but
Always.
it was just one of those things where it was just like, yeah, you can't hide it, you can't fake it.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's kind of
And
whatever.
we were just tired of it at the time. Like it was just like, okay, like here we go again. Like, you know.
100%. It's, you know, it's hard, but once I got out of there, honestly, and I'm sure you can attest to it, it just felt like a breath of fresh air, right?
Mhm. Yes.
You know, you kind of relearn yourself and you kind of get
Mhm.
re-energized and you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So uh my question to you here is, Crystal at this stage of the game, what would
Ooh.
you tell Crystal from 17 or 18 years old?
Mm. Um, don't hide your love for wrestling because there's a bigger platform ahead for you. I feel like if I stayed the course and not hit it, I'd probably be doing something in professional wrestling, like maybe reporting it or writing about it, or like, working even working with them. Like is so many jobs that they have besides just the wrestlers. It's so much behind the scenes that we don't see, and I feel like if I would have stayed in that, or like knew more about it or researched about it, instead of saying, you know what, we're told to like get a good job, get a 9 to 5, get this, get that, instead of like following what makes you happy. Those are not going to pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? Like we're taught that, but nowadays I feel like, especially with COVID now, like these kids nowadays, they're not happy to leave. Like I wouldn't leave because I have a family. I got bills to pay. But other people are just like, I'll find another job. I'll just leave. And I give them kudos to them. But for 17, 18-year-old Krystal, do something that you love. Don't listen to others, because do whatever that makes you happy. You'll be happy in the long run.
Well said. And yeah, it's hard because now you get these kids where, we are at the age, we look at ourselves and we're like, okay, this kid is 12. They got
Yeah,
$2 million in
yes,
the bank,
yes, yes.
or they got a
But
contract
yeah.
about like that extends for however long, and everyone wants to be an influencer, right?
Right.
No longer is college being sought out. A lot of these kids, like we touched on, the respect value is just not there. Um, you can't talk to them, you can't discipline them.
They know everything.
Too much.
They know everything. I was like, but I'm older than you. I've lived more. I've seen more, and you know more than me.
Yeah, but they will stand in front of you and
Right.
like tell you about how this is such outdated and the way of thinking, blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, you really don't get it.
Right.
But like how I tell other people, like they're not as resilient as what we were. They have no idea of what resiliency is, because the
Working
second
hard
they're
and
in,
yep.
the second that they're in a bind, they're looking for the door or looking for a way out.
The way, yeah, they instead of figuring it out, they want you to help them out.
Right.
And
Big
we
time.
had to like figure it out. Like I at least I didn't have the option to like keep running back to my mom or dad to say, hey, I need you to help me do this. Like I had to figure out a way to like, okay, I'm not happy here. Okay, how can I figure out what's my next move?
Right.
It's not checkers, it's chess.
Yeah. Yeah. That is
It's the mind over matter, where you got to figure it out.
definitely. So my last question to you here, and it's, I know it's going to be a rough one.
Uh-oh.
What do you value, and what is it, and how does it impact you? What is it? What do you value more, respect or love?
Ooh. I want to say maybe respect, because disrespect is like one of the worst things. Like, I need you to respect me. You don't have to like me, but I need you to respect me. We don't have to be friends, but we have to figure this out. And I need you to respect me so we can get this job done, or whatever. I feel like respect goes a little bit higher than love.
No, you are 100% right. It's hard because everyone's going to have their different interpretations of it. Obviously, it kind of works hand in hand, right? To a certain degree. Like the people you work with or you come in contact with, associates or whatever, you don't really care the love part. But like you stated, if you're trying to, successfully achieve an assignment or finish an assignment or whatever the case may be, like each person has to put the respect enough on the table to complete said task, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Krystal, we are now at our closing segment. You want to give your parting shots, your closing statements?
Closing statements. Love, live life. Like, love, enjoy, have fun, and don't shame us wrestling fans. Because
No,
it is to an enjoyment as well.
nice. Yeah. So my closing statement for our interview is that, you know, we live in a world where everyone has a lot of opinions, right? Um, People are always going to have an opinion about what you do, what you
Hmm.
say, how you
How you
move.
say it. Yep.
And my standpoint is that no one has to walk in your shoes. Like it's easy to talk about it, it's easy to say it, but no one can really put your shoes on, lace them up, and walk in it. I think as we grow, whether you're young or old, you learn every day.
Hmm. Hmm.
In this interview, we learned that, you have to learn, period. It never
Hmm.
stops.
Hmm.
But we also learned that giving up is not always an option.
Correct.
You have to put your work, you have to put the work into it.
Hmm.
You have to respect each other enough to, push on. It can't
Yes.
be one sided.
Hmm.
I think a lot of the times people reach the brink of quitting, but it can't be
Mm.
that way. When, it's like anything, whether it's dating, looking for a job, marriage, whatever the case may be, you can't really quit all the time.
Yeah. There's no
Um,
option. That's not an option.
Absolutely, 100%. And I think the dynamics when it comes to male and female, I think people have to understand, yes, love languages, they exist. It's a real thing. Um, but also from the male aspect, which I can attest to, respect. That's what means a lot to us. Like I know love, like women primarily, you guys receive love and love to hear it. You
Hmm.
love to hear the wishes, the touching, the feeling, because you guys are emotional creatures. Men, the way we are coded, it's a little different. Like
Yep.
just simple acts, I guess. I know for
Simple act.
me,
Yep.
it's that's really all it takes, and we just feel, just as long as we feel respected, we'll do anything for the person
Hmm.
that's in our life.
Yep.
So, peoples, that wraps up episode 13 with Krystal Lynch. I want to
Later.
thank her for being here with us. Krystal, you have anything you want to plug?
Yes, if you are a wrestling fan, come join us. Our page is True Hill Heat. We come on, we're live every Saturday at 11:05 a.m. Also serving Face and Hills, which we just broadcast all wrestling, women's wrestling, and that's every other Sunday at 11:05. And we do every platform of wrestling. We not just WWE. We do everything: New Japan, AEW, Impact. So anything is on there. So my guys over there, they work every day. They work hard. I'm not on there every day because I'm a parent and I have a job too. But those guys, they work very hard. And yeah, like, subscribe. And if you don't, just like us and just say hello to me. DM me. I'm on my IG. And it's Chrissy Love _1. And hey, hit me up.
Awesome. Awesome. So, guys, that wraps it up. Next time around, we'll be back on Sunday with the regular scheduled crew, with Jason and Mike. They will be back. And you guys can ask them what the hell they've been doing the last couple of days. Don't ask me. But with all things being said, I'm Clem Boogie, and this is Straight to It. Thanks, Krystal.
Thank you.